Welcome back to the deep dive. I hope you are somewhere comfortable right now.
Yeah, maybe settling into a favorite armchair. Or out on the porch as the sun goes down.
Exactly.
Yep.
And if you want to be really thematic with us today, you might want to pour yourself a bourbon,
Casey Fletcher style.
right? A bourbon and grab a pair of binoculars. Because today we are looking at a source that really demands you look closely.
We are doing a deep dive into The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager.
And it's a book that it feels incredibly familiar when you first pick it up.
It does. It has that weight,
Right.
that texture of a classic psychological thriller. But I think the reason we're spending our time on it today is that it doesn't stay familiar.
No, it doesn't.
It lures you in with comfort tropes and then drags you into some very cold, very dark water.
That is a terrifying image to start with, but it's completely accurate. I mean, you look at the cover, you read the title, The House Across the Lake, and you think you know exactly what you're getting.
Oh, absolutely. It screams Alfred Hitchcock.
It screams Rear Window. We have a watcher, we have a neighbor, we have a suspicion of murder. It's like the holy trinity of domestic thrillers.
It is. And Riley Sager is a student of the genre. He knows that you know the setup.
Right, he's counting on it.
Exactly. He leans into that expectation heavily in the first half of the book. He gives you the voyeurism, the isolation, the unreliable narrator.
But the mission of this deep dive, the reason we are unpacking this today, is to look at how he takes those standard tropes
Yeah.
and just completely pulls the rug out from under the reader.
Because this isn't just a domestic thriller. By the end, we are in completely different territory.
We are talking dark, wet, supernatural territory.
Yeah.
And it all centers on this setting, Lake Green, Vermont.
Yeah, let's talk about the lake.
Usually lake houses in books are these idyllic escapes.
Mm.
Summer homes, jet skis, barbecues, all that. But here, Sager describes the lake as being, and I love this quote, he says it's darker than a coffin with the lid shut.
That imagery is so pervasive throughout the text. It sets the tone immediately. The lake isn't just a setting, it's really a character.
An antagonist even.
Yes, it acts as an antagonist. It's this bowl that holds secrets. And the protagonist, Casey Fletcher, is keenly aware of that darkness. She respects it, and she fears it.
Let's meet Casey, because she is quite a character to anchor this story. We are introduced to her not just as Casey, but as troubled Casey Fletcher.
Right, in capital letters, essentially. That is actually how the press refers to her. It's become her brand.
She is a widowed actress, the daughter of a famous musical theater icon.
Yeah.
But when we meet her, the glamour is totally gone.
Her career has taken a massive nosedive. She's had a streak of bad press, some very public drunken incidents, and she has effectively been banished to her family's lake house.
Banished to dry out and lay low. It's an exile.
Dry out being the operative phrase there. But she isn't exactly doing that.
No, she is drinking. A lot.
But she has this very specific way of doing it, which is fascinating. She counts her drinks.
Always calculating.
Yeah, she's constantly calculating. I'm on my third bourbon, or maybe my fourth. She outright admits to drinking to oblivion.
Which immediately triggers the unreliable narrator trope for the reader.
We are trained to doubt everything an alcoholic protagonist sees.
Right, like is she hallucinating? Is she misinterpreting things because she's intoxicated?
It's a crucial device. Casey even calls herself a lonely loser who watches people to avoid her own problems.
And she has some serious problems to avoid. She isn't just drinking for fun. She is grieving.
Deeply grieving. Her husband Len drowned in that very lake 14 months before the story starts.
That grief is the filter through which she sees everything. It's the lens of her binoculars, metaphorically.
The house is just filled with reminders of him. There is this moose head in the den that she feels is actually watching her.
Which is so creepy.
It's a physical manifestation of her guilt and her loss. The house is claustrophobic to her. So to escape the eyes of the moose and the memories of Len, she turns her attention outward.
She picks up the binoculars.
And what she sees is the setup for our mystery.
Let's look at the geography of this isolation because Sager maps it out very carefully.
He does. Lake Green is described as basically a puddle, but a very deep one formed by a glacier.
It's ancient water. And on this lake, you have this stark contrast in architecture that really defines the class dynamics at play.
Exactly. You have Casey's house, which is this old, creaky 1878 build.
A parody of New England quaintness, I think she calls it.
Right. It's full of drafts and shadows. It represents the old world, the past, the things that linger.
And then directly across the water, you have the Royce house.
The house across the lake.
It's glass, steel, stone. Casey calls it an angular monstrosity. But at night, she describes it as a dollhouse.
Because the lights are on the walls or glass and you can see absolutely everything happening inside.
The symbolism there is not subtle, but it is highly effective.
The glass house invites voyeurism. It practically demands to be looked at. It's a performative space.
Later in the book, Katherine Royce, the wife living there, actually calls it ostentatious and admits they can't even afford it.
It's a display of wealth and perfection that hides the cracks in the foundation. It's the whole Instagram versus reality debate manifested in architecture.
So who are the people inside this glass fishbowl? We have Tom and Katherine Royce. They look like the perfect couple from a distance.
The glamorous couple. Katherine is a former supermodel. She's famous for this specific billboard where she's running away from a wedding.
An image of pure joy and liberation.
Right, she's beautiful, but Casey, watching through the lenses, notices something interesting in her wedding photos with Tom. She says Katherine has a clenched smile.
Very different from her modeling days.
That detail is so telling. The difference between a professional smile and a forced one.
And Tom?
Tom is a tech CEO, wealthy, controlling, very focused on appearances. The dynamic is tense right from the start. He's the curator of the glass house, and Katherine is the exhibit.
We also have a few other players on the board who flesh out this community. There's Eli.
Eli Williams. He's the neighborhood watch, essentially. An older novelist, the only permanent resident on the lake.
He lives in a Swiss chalet-style house, right?
Yeah. And he's important because he's the keeper of the lore. He represents the memory of the place. He tells the ghost stories about the lake.
And then there's Boone.
Boone Conrad, the mysterious handyman staying at the Mitchell's A-frame house nearby. He's an ex-cop, a recovering alcoholic, and he's grieving a wife.
So he is basically the male version of Casey.
In many ways, yes. He serves as a mirror to her. He shows what her life could be if she put the bottle down, or perhaps what she fears she is becoming.
He's a potential ally, maybe a romantic interest, but because of Casey's state of mind, she's suspicious of everyone.
She assumes the worst because she feels the worst about herself.
Okay, so the stage is set. We have the Watcher, the glass house, the creepy lake, and the eccentric neighbors. The inciting incident happens when Casey is doing what she does best.
Drinking on her porch and watching the water.
She spots something. It looks like a person drowning. And despite her inebriation, her instinct kicks in.
This is an important moment. She doesn't hesitate. She thinks of Len, her husband, and she rushes to the boat. Her trauma doesn't paralyze her here, it activates her.
This rescue scene is intense. She finds Katherine floating like driftwood, blue lips, no heartbeat. Casey drags her into the boat, and for a moment, she thinks Katherine is dead.
She thinks she's too late again.
But then Katherine spasms, coughs up water, and revives.
And this is crucial, this moment of revival. It bonds them. They sit in the boat wrapped in blankets, and they have this surprisingly deep conversation.
You expect Katherine to be distant or in shock, but they really connect.
I love this part. Katherine isn't the stuck-up supermodel Casey expects. She's charming. She's self-deprecating.
They even coin a word together, bumblebrag.
Right, the opposite of a humble brag. It's when you accidentally make yourself sound better than you are.
It establishes a genuine connection between them. It humanizes the doll in the glass house.
Katherine opens up about why she quit modeling. She says, I wanted to eat pizza, which is funny, but then she thinks that Tom wanted her to stop.
That sets off major alarm bells. The controlling husband, the career sacrifice.
Casey sees a woman who seems weak, confused, and maybe a little trapped. She sees a bird in a glass cage.
And that impression is heavily reinforced at the dinner party.
Oh, the dinner party. The classic thriller set piece.
If you're in a domestic thriller, you have to have an awkward dinner party.
Yeah.
Casey gets invited over to the Royces for drinks. Eli is there too. And the tension is thick enough to cut with a steak knife.
Tom is monitoring Katherine's alcohol intake. He insists on pouring the wine. He's hovering. He cuts her off in conversation.
It's subtle, but it's definitely abusive.
But the most important thing that happens that night, narratively speaking, is the story Eli tells.
The ghost story.
It seems like just atmospheric flavor at the time, you know, the whole it was a dark and stormy night kind of stuff, but it's actually the key to the entire mystery.
Eli explains the local legend that reflective surfaces could trap the souls of the dead.
And he gets very specific about the rules. It's almost like he's reading the instruction manual for the rest of the book.
He does. He says, if you die in the water, your soul stays there.
And here is the kicker. If a living person sees their reflection in the water after a recent death, they allow themselves to be possessed. The water acts as a doorway.
Casey's reaction to this is not great. She freaks out.
She gets angry, she's drunk, she smashes a wine bottle Because for her, this isn't a fun, spooky story. Her husband died in that water.
The idea that his soul is trapped there is horrifying to her. It feels like a violation of his memory.
But it plants the seed for the listener. We are thinking about reflections. We are thinking about possession. And we are thinking about the lake as a container.
And then right on cue, things go sideways.
Dude, disappearance.
Casey hears a scream across the lake just before dawn. The next morning, Katherine is gone, just erased from the picture.
Then Tom has a story ready. He says she left him. She went back to the city. A simple marital dispute, nothing to see here.
But Casey isn't buying it. She starts digging. And the evidence she finds doesn't match Tom's story at all.
This is where Sager does a great job of integrating modern tech into the mystery. We aren't just looking for footprints anymore.
Casey checks a location-sharing app called Mixer. Katherine's phone isn't in the city. It's pinging from right across the lake at the Royce house.
But then an Instagram photo goes up on Katherine's account. It shows her NYC apartment with the caption, "There's no place like home."
So we have conflicting narratives. The digital footprint says she's in two places at once.
The GPS says here, the social media says there. It highlights how easily reality can be manipulated online.
Then Boone helps out. He calls the NYC doorman, who confirms Mrs. Royce hasn't been seen for days.
So the Instagram post was a lie. Tom is lying.
And the spying escalates. Casey is glued to those binoculars. And what she sees is pretty damning.
It's the classic murder kit. She sees Tom cleaning up. She sees him buying a saw rope and a tarp.
She sees him arguing with someone who looks like Katherine right before the disappearance. And then the flashlight in the woods at night.
It all points to murder. It feels like we are moving toward a standard conclusion. The husband killed the wife and buried her in the woods.
We are ready for Casey to find the body and solve the crime.
But this is the deep dive. And we know it's never that simple. Because before we get to the truth about Katherine, we have to talk about the truth about Len.
Yes, the twist regarding the before timeline. The book has been jumping back and forth between now and before. We know Len drowned. We assume it was a tragic accident.
Casey has been presenting herself as the grieving widow. But then we get the revelation. Casey calls it the secret step of becoming tabloid fodder.
Discover your husband is a serial killer.
Let's unpack that. Len wasn't just a guy who liked fishing. He was a monster.
Casey found his tackle box in the basement mudroom. Oh, I want to pause on that image, the tackle box.
So mundane.
It's plastic, it's innocent. But instead of lures and hooks, it was filled with locks of hair and the driver's licenses of 3 missing women.
Megan Keane, Tony Burnett, and Sue Ellen Stryker.
That is chilling. The tackle box is a trophy case. It's the banality of evil right in her own basement.
It's a horrific betrayal. Casey realizes the man she loved, the man she is actively mourning, was a predator. And this changes our understanding of the day he died. It wasn't an accident. It was a confrontation.
We find out Casey took him out on the boat. She took him to the middle of the lake, away from prying eyes, and confronted him with the tackle box.
And he admitted it. He didn't deny it. He didn't beg for forgiveness. He said he enjoyed it.
And then he attacked her. In the struggle, he fell overboard and hit his head.
And here is the moral complexity that makes Casey such a fascinating protagonist. She didn't save him.
She's a lifeguard, essentially. She knows how to save people, but she didn't.
She made a choice. She watched him drown. She chose to let him die to protect others and maybe to protect herself.
She threw the tackle box in after him. She became a vigilante in that moment.
He thought she was washing the world clean of him.
So she thinks it's over. She thinks she ended the evil. But then we get this massive shift in the story, and the genre just shifts beneath our feet.
We leave the psychological thriller behind and enter the supernatural.
Casey breaks into the Fitzgerald house, the neighbor's place where she saw the flashlight. She thinks she's going to find Katherine's body. Or maybe Katherine hiding.
And she does find Katherine, tied to a brass bed in the basement.
But Tom catches Casey, and he explains he isn't the killer. He says he is the jailer.
He believes Katherine is possessed.
And Casey understandably thinks he's crazy. She thinks he's gaslighting her to cover up domestic abuse.
Until she talks to the woman on the bed.
The woman looks like Katherine, sounds like Katherine, but then the personality shifts.
She starts knowing things only Len would know. She talks about the tackle box, she talks about the boat.
And the pieces snap together. Eli's ghost story, the rules.
The mechanics of possession. Len's soul was trapped in the lake because he died in the water.
When Katherine drowned and was revived, she was a vessel.
She was empty for a moment. Len poured himself into her.
Poured. That word is so gross and perfect. It connects back to the alcohol, doesn't it?
It does. It's all fluid dynamics. Len confirms it. He's back.
And he confirms he killed the 3 women, and they are at the bottom of the lake near Old Stubborn, which is this petrified tree stump.
So Casey is standing in a basement talking to her dead serial killer husband who is inhabiting the body of the woman she saved.
That is a lot to process.
It is a massive pivot. We have gone from Rear Window to The Exorcist.
But Sager grounds it in the rules he established earlier. It's not random, it's the payoff of the folklore. It's the promise of that darker-than-a-coffin line.
So we move to the climax. Len wearing Catherine's body is dangerous. He tricks them, escapes the restraints, knocks out Tom with a table leg.
Now he has a knife, and he has Casey.
And a storm is hitting, a hurricane remnant. So the atmosphere is chaotic. Darkness, wind, rain.
Len explains that souls are slippery, weightless, shapeless. He wants to resume his life and his killing.
He's immortal now, effectively.
Casey realizes she can't just kill him, because if she shoots Catherine, she is killing an innocent woman. Catherine is still in there somewhere, suppressed.
So they need a different solution. Casey convinces Eli, who has arrived to help of the truth.
Eli, the keeper of the lore, accepts it faster than anyone.
They devise a plan to take Len and Catherine out on the boat.
They go to Old Stubborn, the dumping ground.
The symbolism here is heavy. They are going back to the source of the trauma.
Casey grabs the anchor and jumps into the lake, dragging herself down.
It's a sacrifice play. She intends to drown herself.
The logic is that if she dies or comes close to death in the water, she becomes a vessel.
She is betting that Len will want her body more than Catherine's, or that the process of transfer will make him vulnerable. It's a desperate move.
And Len dives in after her?
Not to save her out of love, but because he needs a vessel. He doesn't want to be caught.
There's this underwater struggle. It's murky. It's terrifying. And then the transfer. Casey feels Len leave Catherine.
She feels the soul leave. That must be terrifying.
Casey revives. Catherine wakes up. But Catherine is horrified. She's confused.
She has blackouts and lost time. She doesn't remember being Len. She just knows something violated her mind.
So they survive. They come up with a cover story. They tell the police. Catherine got lost in the woods during a fugue state.
Tom backs it up because, well, the truth is insane. My wife was possessed by the neighbor's serial killer husband. Isn't going to hold up in court.
Exactly. And the police search the lake near Old Stubborn. They find the bodies of the 3 missing women.
This vindicates Casey's suspicion of Len posthumously. It closes the book on the serial killer case. It proves she wasn't crazy about him.
But it doesn't close the book on the danger. Because there is one final twist. We still have Tom to deal with.
The resolution is messy. Tom isn't a good guy just because he wasn't the serial killer. Later, he attacks Casey.
Right. He knows she knows too much. He knows she saw him buying the murder kit, even if he didn't use it. He tries to drown her in the lake.
It's ironic. He tries to use the lake as a weapon, just like Len did.
But Casey fights back. She uses a wine bottle poetic justice given her alcoholism, and she survives. She smashes him with it. Tom is arrested.
But the ending, it leaves us with a lingering question. Casey and Catherine are on the porch. The sun is coming out, but Catherine mentions something disturbing.
She said she still has memories that aren't hers. Len's memories.
It implies that the transfer wasn't clean, or that trauma acts as a ghost itself. Casey wonders if Len is back in the lake waiting for the next victim.
It's that classic horror movie ending.
Yeah.
The hand coming out of the grave. You're never really safe.
And it brings us back to the theme of the lake. It's not just water. It's a presence. It's patient.
So that is the ride. Let's dive deeper into some of the specific elements here. I want to go back to the genre-bending aspect.
Yeah.
How effective do you think that bait and switch is?
It's risky. It creates a polarizing reaction. If you want a grounded mystery, you might feel cheated. But if you look at the clues, the darker-than-a-coffin line, the ghost stories, the obsession with the past, it's all there.
Sager uses the rear window trope to lull you into a false sense of security so the supernatural element hits harder.
It forces the reader to realize that the world is stranger than they thought.
It's almost like the supernatural element is a metaphor for addiction.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Possession involves losing control of yourself to an outside force. You have blackouts. You do things you wouldn't normally do. You hurt the people around you.
That is exactly how Casey describes her relationship with bourbon.
Precisely. Len pouring himself into a vessel. It's the same language we use for alcohol. Casey is fighting 2 demons, the literal ghost of her husband and the demon in the bottle.
That adds a whole new layer to her character arc. She starts as a passive watcher, numbing herself. By the end, she is an active survivor.
She literally dives into the darkness to face it. She stops watching and starts doing.
That's the hero's journey here. She moves from the porch to the water. She engages with the thing that scares her most.
I also want to talk about the bumblebrag relationship, because female friendship is often a subplot in these thrillers, but here it feels central.
It is. Katherine and Casey are foils, the perfect model and the troubled actress.
But they find common ground in their dissatisfaction. They both feel trapped by the expectations placed on them, and ultimately, they save each other.
Casey saves Katherine from the lake and then saves her from Len.
And Katherine saves Casey in a way. She gives Casey a purpose. She pulls her out of her stupor.
If Casey hadn't seen Katherine, she would have just drunk herself to death on that porch.
One detail I can't stop thinking about is the secret step in the tabloid fodder list. Discovering your husband is a serial killer.
That flashback sequence with the tackle box, it's so mundane. A tackle box.
That's what makes it scary. It's the banality of evil. It wasn't a hidden dungeon. It was a plastic box in the mudroom.
It suggests that you never really know the person you're sleeping next to. It suggests that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like a fishing hobby.
Which brings us back to the neighbors. The whole premise of the book, looking into the glass house. We think we see the truth because the walls are transparent.
But we are only seeing the performance. We see the dinner parties and the arguments, but we don't see the possession. We don't see the internal rot.
Sager's telling us that observation is not the same as understanding. You can watch someone 24/7 and still not know what's in their soul or who is in their soul.
And Eli's role in all this. He's the storyteller. He's the one who gives us the rules. Do you think he knew more than he let on?
Eli is an interesting figure. He's the keeper of the lake's history. He represents the old world, the folklore. He accepts the supernatural explanation much faster than Casey does.
It suggests that if you live by the lake long enough, you understand its logic. You stop trying to apply city rules to lake realities.
The lake is darker than a coffin. I am never going swimming again, by the way.
Probably a safe bet. Stick to the pool.
So we have the serial killer plot, the possession plot, the alcoholic redemption arc. It's a lot of threads, but they tie together in that final underwater struggle.
They do. The water is the connecting element. It's where Len killed the women. It's where Len died. It's where the possession happened.
And it's where the final confrontation takes place. It's a full circle moment. Everything returns to the water.
And the ambiguity at the end. Len's memories in Katherine's head. Is that Sager leaving the door open for a sequel or just messing with us?
I think it's thematic. Trauma leaves a mark. You don't just get over being possessed by a serial killer.
Just like Casey won't just get over her alcoholism or her grief, the ghost lingers. The memory lingers. It's a scar.
It's a haunting note to end on. It reminds us that while the immediate danger is gone, the scars remain. The lake is still there.
Okay, let's wrap this up with a final thought for our listeners. We started with Rear Window. We ended with The Exorcist.
My final takeaway is this. Be careful what you look for. Casey looked for a mystery to distract her from her life, and she found one that almost consumed her.
And maybe put down the binoculars and actually talk to your neighbors. You might find out they're not just characters in a dollhouse.
Or you might find out they're a serial killer. So use your best judgment.
Fair point. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the house across the lake. It's been a wild, wet, terrifying ride.
Always a pleasure to explore the dark waters with you.
We'll see you next time. Stay dry out there.